Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, your resource for all things business, brand, and leadership. We are excited you have decided to join us today.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I am your host, Robert Kaelin, and we have a fantastic episode prepared for you today about the importance and the power of coaching. And I have the honor and the privilege of introducing our guest today, who you can see on the screen here. He's an international business coach and consultant, spending over 30 years in the manufacturing industry at various levels of management. Mr. Dave Robs, he's witnessed both success and failure, where he's gleaned wisdom and insight that enabled him to start his own coaching and consulting business. And in 2005, he traveled to South Africa and soon began what's called the Poyeho Project, which is helping bring hope to people in South Africa. Please join me in welcoming the talented, the amazing Mr. Dave Robs. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robert. Good to see you this morning.
It is good to be seen. It's good to be with you. One of my favorite people. We've traveled to South Africa together. We've done a lot of things together, and we got some things coming up, and I'm so excited to have you on this podcast to let people know what's going on and how they can get involved. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So
Dave,
as Robert mentioned, I traveled to South Africa in 2005, not planning on what ended up happening, but when I was there, I saw the extreme poverty, which is not difficult to find or to see, but I also saw great opportunity. If you can imagine, for instance, you build refrigerators, and in today's market in the United States, you buy another refrigerator when your old one breaks or you're looking for a new look in the kitchen. Well, over there, 70 to 80% of the people live in a poverty situation, and they don't own a refrigerator. So you can imagine going to the store and having to go shopping every day virtually for anything that's perishable. So if you were manufacturing those and you had an opportunity to bring that 70 or 80%, even a third of them into a market where they had more disposable income, refrigerators would be one of the things they would buy. And so to see that kind of opportunity in a multitude of areas in South Africa and a need for the services and the products and so forth that people would develop, it's a huge opportunity from a business standpoint. And so in 2007, we started Poyeho Project, which was a launching of an opportunity to build that there in South Africa and other parts of Southern Africa.
So Dave, tell us a little bit about the work of the Pueo Project. And, obviously you guys started back in 2007, so it's been going on for a while.
Yes.
What are some of the impacts that you've seen from that work?
Well, I've seen in South Africa, we have a number of businesses that we have either come alongside or we have helped to launch that are in a variety of. One of the things people ask me, well, what kind of business? And actually, what we do and how we work, it works in any business. It doesn't matter what the product is or what the service is. The things that we teach and promote are the things that help make the business successful, no matter what that business is. And I'm not an expert in all areas of business. However, I am an expert in developing business and making it successful. I tell people it's up to you to do what you do. It's up to me to help you do it better, efficiently, and all those kinds of things. And the thing in South Africa is really the same as the things we run into here in the United States. And it's actually, well, I'm gonna say a word that probably half of you are then going to switch off the podcast, but it's an issue of it's lack of knowledge. So it's being ignorant, and I would start my classes off by telling people that everyone in this room is ignorant, which would really get some people's hackles up pretty fast. But the reality of it is that we are all very good in some areas and we're not so good in other areas. And most small business owners are not good in areas that actually will help their business to grow and develop. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They think they're very good at what the business does, and they are, but that is not the same as building the business. So it's a whole different skill set. It's a whole different mindset. And so to help people see that so that they really get a grip on what their job is.
Mm-hmm.
Once you started a business, that business is your job.
Yeah.
And if you would sit down and ask yourself, would somebody hire me as the manager of a business? What credentials can I bring that would show them that I have the ability and the skills to actually grow and develop a business? Well, most small business owners, myself included, I could not say that. And so it's really learning what skills I need to develop and what things I don't understand that I need to understand. And there's a place where the saying, you don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
could not apply better than starting your own business.
Ain't that the truth? You don't know what you don't know. And for us business owners, for people who are out there who have an idea, who recognize that their business, they want to make a difference in the world, really, and have impact and influence. Yet business is complex. It's not just having a good idea and just starting to do it. In one sense it is, but in another sense it's more complex than that, because there's, marketing and advertising, there's planning and strategic planning and execution, there's process, there's, people management, taxes, all of the finance, accountant, all that stuff that comes along with it, which we all know. And if we were all really honest with ourselves, we would look at that and go, you know what, like, that's not my lane. That's not my lane. I'm really good at that. I'm okay in this area. I mean, I understand the majority of it for the most part, but
Right.
These are my things that I excel at. And it's hard to do it as one person. And so I think, that's kind of where you come in as the Pueo Project, to come in and coach and consult. And so tell us a little bit about what that looks like in terms of your process.
Okay. So I go to Africa on an average of once a year. I'm there anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on what I'm doing. I have traveled to other nations like Malawi and Zimbabwe and that type of thing. So if I'm going to other nations, I'll tend to stay a little longer because it takes a while, number one, to get adjusted to the time, and
Mm-hmm.
for me to revisit the whole concept of Africa time, which
Well,
which
I'm going to say something really quick, because it's like a 40-hour flight just to get there.
yeah.
And so you need a little bit of time just to adjust, not just to the time zone change, but the fact that you just spent 40 hours, almost 2 full days, traveling and
Right.
going through customs and, sitting on an airplane.
Yes. Yeah, it takes me several hours just to wake my seat up to
Yeah.
the fact that I'm not seated anymore. Um, but yes, and it's probably more true in Africa than it is here, because our basic knowledge and education and all that kind of thing level is better here than there. But there's not many high schools that I have found that actually teach someone how to start and run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a misnomer out there among most people that say, well, running a business is easy. First of all, that's why they take the jump into that pool, because they think it's easy to do it. Well, if it were easy, we wouldn't have the statistics that we have today that says 1 in 10 businesses fail in the first 10 years. So that's 10% odds. And I'll tell you, in Vegas, you wouldn't play if it was only a 10% chance of winning. But somehow we think that we can overcome it and do it and make it happen. And some people do.
10% of them.
Yeah, 10%. And the other 90 are wondering what happened,
This was supposed to be easy.
That's right. What happened to the easy part?
Yeah.
What happened to having more time and having more money and all that
Yep.
kind of thing?
And I think honestly that's kind of where we come in, right? As the Elevate podcast,
Exactly.
Doing business brand and leadership, and even having you here to talk about coaching and consulting and the power that it has. Because I was actually looking at I do a full focus planner, and I was looking at that today, and there's a quote on the top right every single day. So on here, there's a quote on the top right. It says, this was the quote: "Your power lies in putting your best self forward every day."
Yes.
Now, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, I know for me, I don't wake up putting 100% in every single day. Sometimes I wake up and I'm at like 30, and I'm like, I'm not motivated today.
Right.
And so all of us need a coach.
Yes.
I'm a huge proponent of that. And, for the days that you don't want to wake up, you're accountable to somebody,
That's right.
And not the days you don't want to wake up, the days you don't want to wake up and do something, the
Right.
days you feel like, I don't know, just lack of motivation, lack of maybe frustration
Right.
of trying to do, it almost feels like insanity where you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yes. Yes.
But let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up for people in the States, specifically here in our city in Puyallup. And this will expand, but for right now, what do we got? What do we got coming up?
Well, you could talk this as easily as I could, or probably better. But years ago, I developed a curriculum for doing workshops both here and in Africa. And Robert came to an idea about, hey, how about if we activate this and expand it? Because it's in the way I wrote it, it was very basic. It was like skipping rocks on the top of the water, so to speak. But it was all about different aspects of your business and developing that, getting a vision, hanging on to that vision, having a purpose, and identifying a niche market that you're part of, et cetera. And so what we've done is he and I have been working together for the last 6 months in developing that and expanding it and drilling it down. And so I'm very excited for that. In fact, on the 20th, we're having a kind of a Q&A, but just an introduction of what we're looking to do and how we're going to go about it and so forth in our business community here. And that session is a free session. So for people that might be interested or are pretty sure they're interested, or somebody that's and every business owner, I don't care who it is, they can't forecast the future. Okay. We can look at indicators and things like that, but everybody, including Boeing and Microsoft and all these companies, they're looking at the future, but they don't have it in a box.
Yeah.
So many times, as small business owners, we sit there and we think, well, there's too many. I can't forecast. I can't plan. I can't do. There's too many factors. There's the general economy. There's all these different things. A couple of years ago, it was COVID. Nobody was expecting COVID to hit, and when it did, it put us all on our lips.
Yep.
But nobody can forecast those things. However, we can take what we know and make an educated strategic plan for the future.
Yeah.
With the idea that we can adjust it and do all that kind of thing. And so that's where having a coach is an important thing, because the things that you're facing in your business are just the same as somebody down the street that's an entirely different business, but they're facing the same issues.
Yep.
There's key times in the development of a business where the opportunity to succeed or fail are based on some very important decisions. For instance, hiring. hiring employees. How do I get them to think like I think? How do I, how will they do it the same as I do, or will they want to do it different, or all those kind of things? And there's things that you can develop that will help
Hmm.
shortcut some of those issues.
Yeah.
And it may not solve it all, but it'll certainly make the answers and solutions to those things much easier because you will have already thought about it and planned it.
Yeah. That's good. I think a lot of us do feel like that, Dave, where we feel like we're going through it alone.
Mm-hmm.
We're in business, we're trying to do the thing, and we are the only one who's ever experienced this problem.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you just called that out and said, no, everyone
Yes.
experiences that problem. It's just a matter of figuring out how to solve it for your business.
Right.
And coaching is a great way to do that. The way that I look at coaching is it's taking you from where you are right now and seeing where you want to go and helping you get there.
Right.
And with what we've developed, it's called Building Your Dream Business. And it's a course to help you create that strategic plan, that working plan, the one that it's not written in stone, right? But it'll help you be able to navigate. And I think the biggest part of this that you said, Dave, was it's about purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your purpose is bigger than the plan,
Mm-hmm.
you can think outside of it, right? The plan it's
Right.
not in concrete. It's not written in stone. It's something that you can say, hey, you know what? This thing, maybe COVID, maybe another, economic impact thing has happened to you. But you can look at it and you can go, okay, yeah, this is just an obstacle. This is a roadblock. This is something we need to overcome because my purpose is bigger than just the plan that I have.
Right.
The goal doesn't change, but the path to get there may, and that's okay.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, we are really close to out of time here for today's episode.
Okay.
I want to bring you back for next week, and do another episode, continue our conversation, and help some business owners out there.
Love
Cool.
it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thanks for being here, my friend. So good to have you. You guys, that's it for our podcast today for the Elevate podcast. Until then, we will see you next week. Feel free to reach out via email, via message on social media, however it is. We want to add value to you in what you're doing and make you elevate your business, your brand, and your leadership. We will see you next week, you guys. Until then, take care and God bless.
Thank you for joining us. Our hope is this episode has been helpful for you today. If it's impacted you in some way, we encourage you to share it with someone. To receive a direct notification of our next episode, click the follow button on your favorite app or platform. You can also watch each episode on YouTube. The links are in the description. If you want to connect with us on a deeper level, go to countercultureleadership.com/resources. We'll see you next week on the Elevate Podcast.